Mr. Moussavi,
Yes, sir.
what's your opinion after the judgment have been released?
Well, I was insisting that the judgment be released. Remember, it's not an opinion. I was forcing the authorities in Pakistan that the final answer to all these speculations and this foolhardy that's going on is to see what the court said. The court had the opportunity to look at thousands of documents. The court had the opportunity to ask probing questions from NAB and Pakistan government officials. The court had the opportunity to investigate at will and leisure, and its conclusions are damning. I invite every Pakistani citizen to look at that judgment. I have never, in a long career of fighting corruption, I've been put in jail, I've been shot at, I've been victim of an attempted kidnapping and various other things. I have never, ever, in the long history of fighting corruption, seen a court say a government conspired to steal, not from its people, governments do that every day, but steal from a company that it hired to go after stolen money. That must be a pretty damning verdict. And I urge the new government of Pakistan to pay attention to that judgment. They voluntarily agreed to subject themselves to the jurisdiction of that court because they recognize that the English court is an unbiased court. It enjoys international reputation at being totally uncorruptible and unbiased, and its motto is let the evidence take us wherever it might. The evidence conclusively took the court to where I said it should go. And it went exactly to that, and it actually went further than the conclusions that we had come to. We knew that NAB had breached the contract. The court said they did so deliberately. We knew that what they had done was unlawful. The court said they conspired to defraud Broadsheet. Now, what kind of a government, what kind of a National Accountability Bureau conspires to defraud the people who they've hired to go and find the money that's been stolen, looted by the Pakistani elite? I asked the people of Pakistan to consider that question.
Mr. Kaveh, the judgment is actually not also very favorable of Broadsheet. Is that Broadsheet?
If somebody wants to address me to that, I sat in the hearings from day one, from January 16, 2016, right to the end, and I've been with this for the last 17 years. And
the very first contract that was signed with Truvon.
Truvon has nothing to do with me. I'm talking about Broadsheet. If they're trying to spin this Truvon, that's their issue. Broadsheet, I only agreed to come in Broadsheet and fund it, and I insisted that Truvons cannot do this. I don't know who Truvons is. Yeah. It's got to be Broadsheet. It's got to be a clean company. It's got to be set up from the beginning. It's my custom and practice to set up new companies for new investigations, so as to keep accounts separate, so as to keep the liabilities separate, to keep the claims separate. Truvons has nothing to do with me. I didn't know. I had nothing to do with them. When I was approached by the government of Pakistan, I said, I don't know what you've done in the past. I'm not interested in what you've done in the past. If you want to deal with me, this is the way we do it.
Mr. Moussavi, the judgment has questioned your credibility as well, and it mentioned about the witness forgery of your witness and your sentence, prison sentence as well.
Sorry, it is not a sentence. A contempt of court is civil contempt. Civil contempt is not a sentence. Civil contempt is when, as a matter of conscience, you are incapable of carrying out the order of an oppressive government at one time. Thousands of people are conscientious objectors and they go to prison. One of the most notable was Mr. Mandela. I could have come out, I could have purged that contempt within 20 minutes. As a matter of conscience, I could not. The Oxford University Law faculty was so outraged by that decision that very soon after that I was appointed as a head of public interest law with a mandate to go and look in these things. So those who say that it's a fine attempt at a spin, it is my biggest badge of honor to have refused to give in when my conscience was telling otherwise.
Okay, Mr. Kaveh, you said in your interview that you met with the General Malik who introduced you as the intelligence officer from Pakistan.
I have never said that. What I've said is he alleged that he was. Let the record show, I am making no accusations against the Pakistani military. I am making no accusations against the Pakistani intelligence services. I am making no accusations against any official who came here pretending to be part of the military establishment. I have no way of knowing that this man who pretended to be a general and his name was Malik, I have no way of knowing that. What I can say is this: anyone in my seat that day at a time when the delegation is here calling me coincidentally, is it a coincidence? There are 365 days in a year, and if somebody calls you on the day when a delegation is here and is very well briefed that they're going to meet the National Crime Agency and tells you they'd like to meet you, you take their bona fides as read, and of course you do a little bit more due diligence, which is what I did. This was the time when we were negotiating with the government of Pakistan, and so it would have been perfectly legitimate for me to accept the bona fides and take at face value the representations made to me that a member of the delegation wished to see me. The real question you should be asking is, when I addressed this to the government of Pakistan, they did nothing about it. That's the real question.
My question is, there is the person introduced as a General Malik. Did you met him before, or did you met him after, or just a one meeting and he asks you straight to give me a cut?
I have never met him before, I've never met him after. When he asked me, he didn't ask me straight for a cut. He first introduced his credentials, which were government documents, NAB documents, which he showed me, as well as a draft contract. At the time, any reasonable person applying the standards of prima facie evidence, on the face of it, the evidence was corroborative and compelling. I agreed to meet, and I agreed to continue the discussion. The discussion broke off the minute he said, there are people in Pakistan who are wondering why you should be making this much money. I was a bit confused for a few minutes. I said, I'm not making any money until I find the money. And that agreement is that if I find, I will take money from the thieves and not from the people of Pakistan. He said, well, those are just details. The reality is you're going to make a certain amount of money, and people are saying, well, we should have a share of that. I was absolutely shocked. So shocked, and to ask him to repeat that. And he saw that I was shocked. He rephrased it slightly more diplomatic language, and my response was, waiter, the gentleman will pay his own coffee bill, I will pay my own coffee bill. And he continued to attempt, and I said, sir, General, Mr., I don't know who you are, and from what you're saying, it is extremely improbable that you're a member of the Pakistani military. I am not going to continue this conversation. This very conversation is a criminal offence in this country, and I am going to report this to our lawyer straight away. When the waiter came, I said, bring one bill for me and one bill for the gentleman. I paid it, didn't stand anymore, and left. I have never heard from the gentleman again. He's clearly not a gentleman who's trying to defraud the people of Pakistan. But what I have done is immediately, within 10 minutes, reported it to our lawyers and told them to report it to the government of Pakistan. The real question you should be asking is, why did the government of Pakistan did nothing about it?
Now, my question is that supplement question is, who introduced? Because you said you went to Hampstead to meet him, and there is a one-on-one meeting. So my question is, how is come that someone called you or someone introduce you, or how you go from Oxford to Hampstead to meet him? I think you know him, or someone introduced you, or you trust him.
No, the credentials were compelling. Why? It was at the time when I knew the delegation were here. Somebody calls you, says the delegation's here. Yes.
And the delegation was here.
And the delegation was here. And somebody calls you and they're here and they're part of the delegation. I said, well, I should be delighted to have a continued.
Can you mention
But
that who called you?
I believe it was the same gentleman.
Same gentleman.
I believe so.
Okay.
I can't. That did I know this gentleman? Let me finish. The idea that did I know this gentleman? I know some people are trying to spin this. You're not going to get anywhere. There's a judgment that has shattered all the spins that the government and other people have been trying. That judgment is pretty compelling. It's absolute. Regarding Malik, I don't know if his name was Malik. Regarding the general, I don't know if it's a general. It's my estimation. It is highly improbable that he was a member of the Pakistani military. They would have much more direct capability of reaching me with credentials. His credentials were documents slipped to him clearly by somebody inside NAB. My accusation is to NAB. It's not at the military, it's not at ISI, it's not anybody else. I know ISI were involved in producing the Joint Investigation Team report, which was submitted above board bona fide, legally to the Supreme Court of Pakistan.
You mentioned another meeting, actually two meetings with Anjum Dar. When he met you for the first time, he offered you bribe. Why did you meet him second time?
No, he didn't offer me a bribe first time. First time he saw us, he was going to see if we could facilitate an arrangement, and I said a consent order through the court. That'll be fine. And then I was under the impression that was what he was trying to do. The second meeting, clearly, and I wish there was a witness. I mean, I have a witness.
You are a very experienced person. Then how you assess that Mr. Daur is related to Mr. Family? Have you applied any rigorous checks on him that what he is saying is right? Anyone can come to you and can say I'm belonging to a military establishment, or I'm from Imran Khan's side or in PTI government side. You will give me time and you will settle the things with me. Have you applied any counter check on that person?
That's why I didn't see him again.
No, you met him twice.
You heard me.
But you are you leveled allegations that he allegedly talked to Mr. Sharif. He was from Mr. Sharif. Impression in Pakistan is what the different circle is saying, that you accuse Mr. Sharif that he bribed you offer you a bribe.
I don't need to accuse Mr. Sharif after the Supreme Court's decision on Mr. Sharif. So let's leave Mr. Sharif out of this.
What's the decision of Supreme Court?
Decision of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court threw him out of the government. That's what.
On what basis?
What's the next question?
On what basis?
Read the Supreme Court
No,
decision.
he is thrown out on a comma basis, not on corruption basis.
Mr. Moussavi.
So just 1 minute. This is the.
Are you representing Mr. Sharif? Because
No,
it sounds
I'm not
awful.
journalist.
It sounds awfully.
You are not taking any question which is not proving your side. So
I'm not-
You are just questioning my credentials. Do you think it's the right thing?
I'm hoping that people are listening to this conversation.
Yes, we will.
Is this? Are you on the payroll of Mr. Sharif? I'm sorry, what's the next question?
Supreme Court decision.
Mr. Sharif to confirm if it was Anjum Dar and he sent him.
He is also on payroll.
I beg your pardon.
Did you confirm from
I
him?
have no obligation to contact Mr. Sharif. I have an obligation to the people of Pakistan to make sure, to ensure that a court process is continued. A gentleman comes to me and says, I have this information. It looks credible, the information. A gentleman comes to me and says, these are my photographs of Mr. Sharif. And I said, okay, these look pretty intimate, these photographs. It is not. Let the people of Pakistan know through your camera that this attempt to spin this against me in order to exonerate Sharif is yet another fraud on you people of Pakistan. Let the record show, if you or any reasonable person receives a telephone call and from someone who's extremely well informed about the case, turns up with documentation, photographs with Nawaz Sharif in his private residence, and in front of you makes a telephone call, which by all signs appears to be to Nawaz Sharif, and has a conversation, as then at that point has even further details about the matter, any reasonable person would say this is a person who is representing in some capacity Mr. Sharif. That's what I said. As for the idea that this is an allegation, by definition, if a court has not heard a matter to the end, it's an allegation. A presumption of innocence is there. Absolutely, it's an allegation. I continue to make the allegation that these are events. Eventually, a court will have to decide whether Mr. Anjum Dar represented Mr. Nawaz Sharif, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, or not. Of course it's an allegation. To trying to spin the word that this is an allegation as though it is a negation, no. Every criminal investigation begins with an allegation. Where there's a rule of law, the presumption of innocence is absolute. Let's leave it at that.
Mr. You also accused Pakistan military general for that. There is a worldwide impression that Pakistan military, God forbid, is involved in these things. You have made this allegation and also make controversial Pakistan army as well. What will you say on that? If you are not sure that he was not general, then why you said he was general, assumed as a general? So whole Pakistan military has been put into the dock from your side. Was this correct? Until you have certain evidence that he was from military.
I've spoken enough on that matter.
No,
Next question.
Coming back to your company,
Yes,
Broadsheet.
yes. Sir.
When you met with the General Malik, any other person? On
He
the
claimed to be General Malik. I have not said it was General Malik.
Why you are saying general? He's
You say
giving
General
a bad
Malik
name
in
to
your,
Pakistan Army.
in your statement. But
Is
when
Pakistan Army really that sensitive?
very.
They're that sensitive. Have they got something to hide? Oh dear.
No, Pakistan
it's
Army
very
is a
serious.
Pakistan
It's
national
very serious.
institution.
When you said
Why
people like you, they go credibility, they go very long experience with the law and your education. The people take you very serious. So when did you met with the allegedly General Malik? Anyone with him from the delegation you met before?
No.
Okay,
He was
you
alone.
know,
Coming back to your company.
your matrix, long before you came into this, the Broadsheet LLC,
Sorry?
you know, before you came into it, Broadsheet LLC, they hired a company here called Matrix Risk